Okay, so now we are going through the source code for login and logout using NGRX. So the first step is actually to open the repository, and based on the repository, then we will go to PWA account platform, and then inside the source, the app, and the viewport, and then go to the layout widgets. You see the header. When you see the header, the first step is actually to look at the state. I think there's a red color, maybe certain things.
Just need to install the package.
Or you have not installed this one. Okay, you can run and install. It's okay, never mind. Okay, so basically, if you look at the header component, there's a login identity state. Usually for observable, we put a string at the back of the variable. And then if you look at this observable, is actually account login state. Now when you look at this account login state, you might be wondering, where can I find it? Okay, so you can just control, and then you click. You can see this is located at the account open lib source kernel identity controller and state. Okay, so whenever you use NGRX, in the constructor, you actually provide an identity store and import it. Okay, so after import it, you can see here that when it is being initialized, we are actually assigning this variable to the state here.
We select the state.
Yeah. So when we do this, right, that means that whenever somebody log in or log out in another different component, right, then this variable will be automatically updated. And when this variable is automatically updated, if you look at the template here, is authenticated, and even the identity state.
It will be all over the.
Yeah. If you look at this, the primary identity here, you see that it will automatically be updating it. So this is from the header component. Now if you go from header component, subsequently now we want to look at the login and the logout, so we close this. The login and the logout is actually coded in the applet. So if you go to the applet and then followed by account platform, followed by source lib, and then you go to the core. And then inside the core, you will see a off applet. Then you see a login and a logout here. So when you look at the login, actually inside this login, of course, there's a component, and we are looking at the TypeScript. So when we look at the TypeScript here, let me go to look at the constructor and then the form builder. This one is just a normal form handling the login. This is just checking the email and all that, and then this is the part doing the NGRX. And when we want to do the NGRX, we are actually using the models.
Then they dispatch the action.
And then after that, we dispatch the action to log in. Okay, it's as simple as that. You dispatch the section.
Then it will change the state. Then it will return the.
Yeah, so when you dispatch the action, what happened is that, let's go to the action and let's go to the kernel lib and take a look here. If you look at this kernel lib, not kernel lib, sorry, it is open lib. Under the open lib, okay, under the kernel here, you see there is an identity controller, and in this identity controller, there is an ng store. Usually it's a convention to use a folder name store for NGRX. So first of all, you look at the identity action. Okay, so identity action here will give you all type of possible actions. Now if you look at this account login load, that means that when the web page is being loaded from the internet, I mean, if you open a web browser, you load, this load will be triggered.
Only the load.
Only the load. Why load? Is because maybe the user has logged in before, and when they have logged in before, they did not log out, and then we store the information in the local index DB. Then it would actually
just give it will access
it will load the credentials from the local storage, and then the user don't need to log in again.
It will be like the session ID will be in the session.
Yeah. Yeah. So this load is actually called from the viewport when the viewport is being loaded. Just now when we look at that part, and then of course when you load it, it can be success or it can fail. Then the next part is signing in. Signing in, it means logging in. So logging in, just now we were looking at the applet for login, and then you have a signing out, which is to log out. Of course, you have a create init, we have create fail, read init, read fail. Now there are some actions that are missing, okay, because for example the reset password, they may be verify, or yeah, those things are not here yet, and this is what we need to add in order to fix some of the bugs that we see. Now if you look at this side, there's an access key, there's a login email, there's a login identity. Why? There's a login password, there's a login phone, there's a user group, user passport, user permission, user profile. There are so many different things, account user. Now the rest of it we are not really using it at the moment, because let's say if I want to log in with using the phone number, I may have need to trigger sending of a SMS. If I want to use the access key or manage the access key, add the access key, deduct the access key, I don't want to be confused with this normal regular login, normal identity login. Yes. And usually this identity, one of these identity is can be tied to multiple email, can be tied to multiple access key, can be tied to multiple login password or multiple phone. It's possible for a user to have many phones. That is why you see that the state machine is designed in such a way that it is a split. Okay, so the moment after I look at the state machine, if I want to log in, so here I sign in. When I sign in, I actually pass a payload. Payload usually consists of the username, email, and a password. And then once this one is passed, basically from the actions that are passed, the first thing that you need to look at is actually the effects, not the state. Not the state. So if you look at this login identity effects, then whenever there is a capturing of certain actions, let's say this capturing of this action here, it can be the effect for this one is loading init. So you can see here in the load init, actually what we do is that we if you look at here is return this dot service user SDK service to load the identity from a database. Now this loading from a database is not loading from a database in the cloud, but this database is an index database. I will show you where is the SDK later, but let me just finish the effects first. So if you look at this load from a database, so it will call this function and then pass the result from these functions to the login success to trigger another actions to tell to update the state as login success. So this is create init. This is when we register or create a new user. So as you can see here we have a SDK service. We actually clear the account and sign up. This one we can go into the SDK later, and then we have a switch map. Here's some alert. Now this is also a very interesting part, because this from here we can actually display alert messages. So that means that we are not actually displaying the alert message in the component or in the it can be here too, you know. So but of course this is a design choice whether we want to do it here or we want to
return to the component and the component will do it.
Yeah, okay. So now the next part is that we look at the signing in. So if you look at this signing in, just now from the actions, we actually pass the username and the password, and then we define a constant to hold this value, and then after that we pass it into, okay, this one REST data auth token is not null, or the data token is undefined, means is
Have symbol.
this part is saving the login information into the local storage. Okay, not local storage. Sorry, is saving it into the index DB using dexc.js. Okay, and so okay, so this is the effects, and after the effects, this is the reducer, whereby if you look at this reducer for the login, we are in the reducer. Actually, we just update the state.
Only updated.
Only update the state. It is very important that you do not like put in complicated feature and function here. You don't, because reducers very simple. Just update the state. If you want
get this object and add this, change.
Update the state. In the
this is where it comes from. It comes from the effects.
Yeah.
I mean the object current.
Okay, these parameters and variables come from the states here. The states, which is this object. These are the variables that you update in the reducer inside here. This variable here coming from
I mean, this is the object
the state.
here only.
Yeah, the object is here.
And you can add the properties of the object.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, correct. You can add property. Okay. Then selectors. Okay, this is the interesting part. Selectors. Just now, if you recall that when we were in the viewport in the header, we actually select the identity.
We
so
select what the state of something.
yeah, correct. You select the state.
Means
So
I want to see it's authenticated. It's loading. It's something. What is the current state of the
Yeah.
the application currently?
Yeah. So this is where you do the state, and then
So I mean, this will be used in the components in the first
yes,
place.
yeah, it will. Yeah, the component usually use the selector to pull
And
the.
it will pass them to the store, to the actions to get. I mean, when it's, if for example log out
Yeah.
from, this is log out from the header. You click log out, it will go to action, then it will go.
It actually, yeah, the action is just a set of static functions that you define what are the possible parameters.
It will go then to
yeah,
the reducer, and the reducer will change the state. Is mean it's authenticated
Yeah,
become false.
yeah.
Then the selector,
Yeah.
and the same time, and the component will show that this is a
Yeah.
lookout, cannot do things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So once we have this store, then just now we look at the SDK. So if you look at the util here, there's an offline storage. In this offline storage here, you see this module here. You can see what are the classes inside. But basically, in this offline storage, what we are trying to do is that the most important part is actually the repository. That means that we create a login subject repository. This is empty at the moment, but let's root user identity, repo service, set active user, remove active user, get active user, and this set active, remove clear user, and all those things will actually call the data access object. This one is empty at the moment. I have not done it properly, but it's working. This is a unit of work. This
But
one is also not working.
One thing is that this one, no, identity. Those convention or just you just name them as this.
I just name it. Yeah. So these are just some functions, but it is quite important to understand inside this. You see, you calling a await function, then there's a await another function, and then get the root database, set the registry,
Because
and
we
all
need
that
to
stuff.
get the data before we
Yeah.
execute the next function.
Yeah. As of now, you need to go through all this source code. In the next discussion, I will also record the video, but I will explain to you a little bit more on the big picture. That means that in a local database, if you go into let's say this one, you open a folder and then you just go to account.com or localhost. No, it's fine. Account.com. Let's say do you have currently a username password? You can log in, right? Okay. Before you log in, I want you to inspect, and then if you go to this application.
No, you need to.
Okay, so if you look at this application here, there's a local storage, there's a session storage, there's an index DB. Now if you look at this index DB, there's a root space, there's a DB name, what's this? There is a ng storage. Okay, currently there's nothing here.
You click on this one. Sorry.
Okay, so there's this one is the storing the name of this other database. Okay, so anyway, I'll sign in. The moment you sign in, you see that this one there's a table here. Okay, there's a geo ID. There's a username is empty. Primary key. Let me. You see here there's Aldali. It's actually stored here, and it has got the password is stored as now, but we actually hash the password and we store it as numeric here. And the reason is in the future, in the long run, we may want to support offline login. That means that even when there's no internet, user can log in and we will verify against the hash. And this is the JW. See, okay. So for now, I think it is quite important that for Aldali to first identify what are the issues bug, and then based on the bug, when you are troubleshooting, actually there's one plugin that is very useful. Where is the augury? I think maybe you need to install extension here. You type extension. Where is the extension? Augury. Yeah, this is the one. Okay.
Just this.
Okay, so when you install this augury, and then hopefully you can see here.
Let me refresh.
Refresh. Okay.
I think need to.
Okay.
Or refresh the whole browser.
Okay, it's okay. So
Augury will show the right.
Huh?
No, need to close and open.
Yeah.
Need to restart. Close the browser now.
Okay. Oh. Okay, augury. Or production mode cannot. Okay.
Yes.
Basically, there's another one that allows you to see the state.
Yeah.
Right.
I
This
saw
is the
it,
one.
yeah.
Okay, no problem. So this one need to be in a development mode. Okay.
Yeah, and the local.
Yeah. I think with the walkthrough, I will upload the video to the